going to start with the name of a chapter which you have done, The Diary of Anne Frank. You remember that whole chapter was based on the diary entries written by Anne Frank. Today, we are going to discuss in detail about the diary entries. So, when you're writing a diary, basically we all know, maybe most of us have this habit of, maintaining a diary. So, at the end of the day, we want to pen down, we want to write what we felt, what happened during the day, maybe something that really excited you, something that really made you sad, something that really annoyed you, made you angry. So there are many times, when you are unable to share things maybe with your friends, maybe with your mom or anybody. Sometimes there are certain things you don't feel like sharing. You feel you want to just keep it to yourself, but then that troubles you. So when you put it all out, in the diary, when you put up your feelings in the diary, then you feel better. Your diary becomes your best friend, more than a best friend, because you can pour out any types of feelings with the diary. Yeah, and the diary just welcomes it. So this is what is all about diary entry. Now, what are you all going to learn? What is a diary entry? The guidelines, how to write it. Sample diary entry, you're going to get different types of samples, and of course, we always end it with a lot of practice. Because see, when it comes to creative writing, you have to make sure that you do a lot of practice, just like you do your maths and your grammar. Yes, the more you practice, the more good you become at it. The more, the quality level rises. So you make sure that just reading will not help you. Just reading, solved examples and you feel, oh, you're done for the day. No, that will not help until and unless you write it. You attempt different questions. So please make sure there's perfect practice happening. In fact, practice makes you perfect. Yeah. So let's go further. What is a diary entry? Diary writing is one of the most personal and informal categories of writing. It is personal because you are pouring your heart out, your feelings, and informal. You don't have to be, oh, respected so and so, this happened. You want to speak whatever, what happened with me today, this is what you say, how you go on. You just are totally informal to the diary because there's no one really reading your diary. It's just you and the diary. A diary writing can be based on an experience, a scene, a description or narration of certain event or any other thing or activity that the writer considers worth writing in his personal diary. So yes, you are going to write maybe an experience, something you experienced, something new, something unusual, something extraordinary. You came across something, so you wrote that down. Maybe some particular scene, you were going to school, you saw some, God forbid, some accident, some types that you wrote down, or the description or narration of a certain event. Some event happened in your school, in your life, anything of the sort, you write down that, or any other thing or activity that you consider worth to write it down. Your diary is a safe place where you can be honest and candid about your thoughts, feelings and opinions. That's the safest place. See, the diary is not going to knock back. Don't you dare write this. Don't you dare tell me. The diary is not going to scold back. Yeah. So that is the safest place where you can be absolutely honest with 0% of lie in that. Everything natural, everything, where you are pouring whatever is going on in your mind, whichever types of feelings, whatever thoughts, whatever opinions, she shouldn't have done this, she shouldn't have said this, whatever, irrespective, you can write it down. And when you write it down, you feel very happy because, happy in the sense you feel good, you feel light about it. Why? Because if you are not able to tell it to anybody, then what happens is, that thing keeps running in your mind again and again, tick, 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 that thing goes on. Then you are unable to concentrate on something else. So it's best to write it down and leave it. Then what happens is your head at least is empty, your head and your heart. both are empty. Then it all goes, the problem goes in that, especially something which is bothering you. See, when it is something very happy, something exciting, then that's okay. But if it is something that is bothering you, then in that case, if you pen it down and leave it, it's good. You feel better with it. You feel lighter. Diaries are the eyes of their owners and no one else. They are the eyes of their owners. So if it's my diary, I know what I have written. So they are the eyes of their owners. Yes, that's how we maintain a personal diary. Now, what are the guidelines? We use first person narration when making a diary entry because it's a document we write about events from our point of view. So I saw it, so I write it. It's first person. We use pronouns like I or we in the first person narration. So first person, I is singular and we is plural. So it has to be, because it's your opinion, it's your thoughts, your feelings. So my this, I this. So first person narration. A good diary writing contains the place, the date, the day, and even the time of writing. So place is a little optional, maybe if you're somewhere else, but then day, date, and time we definitely write. A diary doesn't need any formal heading. However, it is optional. If you want, you can give it a suitable heading. Again, that's optional. So the place and the heading is optional. You can just go ahead with the day, date, and time. The style and tone is generally informal and personal, like we already discussed. It is informal. You don't have to be very formal with your diary. You can just write the way you want. Whatever comes in your mind, put it down. However, it depends on the subject. Sometimes the tone can be philosophical and reflective too. Now, philosophical is, when you are talking of philosophy, when you are talking of, pep talks like, this should have been the truth, they should have spoken the truth, and, there's a lot of philosophy happening. Reflective is when you are giving your reaction, what you are thinking about it, that's reflective. So, yeah, you can freely express your viewpoints and feelings. As the diary is writer's personal document, the diary entry doesn't need any signature. It is totally optional. Now, it's a very, a fact, that it's your diary. It's a very obvious thing rather. It's your diary. So, obviously, only you can write. It's your personal diary. So, no neighbor or friend can write in that, right? So, you don't need a signature. You can evolve your own suitable style depending on the topic of your writing. The way you want to write it, you can just go ahead. There's no problem. Now, I will first tell you now, this is a question, right? There have been clues given to us. So, based on it, we will write a diary. So, you paid a visit to an old home with other NSS volunteers. Using the hints given below, together with your own ideas, make a diary entry of what you saw and experienced there. So, now you have gone to the old age home. You have gone with the other NSS volunteers. And now, according to you, what you saw there, what you experienced there, along with your thoughts, okay, along with your own ideas, pen it down. Now, what are the hints given to us? Old home, mostly senior citizens above 60, peaceful surroundings, spacious, clean rooms and baths, regular medical checkups, a good library, means of recreation, a home away from home. Now, see, these hints are given to you. Now, why have I specifically shown you this example is, I want you to understand how to go about. See, there has to be some particular, you have to have that particular set of words according to the topic. So, if I am talking of an old home, this is what I can think of. Yeah, all these things that happen over there. So, based on this, I'm going to make sure that I don't get off track. Don't go offbeat. If you are talking of old home, talk about the old home. Don't get involved in some event that happened here in the old home. Talk about the entire old home. When you met the people, cried out their sorrows or whatever pain they went, somebody left them, whatever. It's all based on that. So this is what I have accumulated. Now, see how we frame it together. Now, day, date and time, you will put the day, you will put the date, expanded date. Do you remember? Expanded date is you always spell the month. In any creative writing, you have to spell the month and time. Now, generally what happens is diaries are usually written at the end of the day. You know, you experience the whole day, it goes through, and then towards the end of the day, we pen down what happened during the day. So, it's 10:30 p.m. Dear diary, you can give your diary a name. With the disintegration of the joint family system, the old people find themselves deserted and alone. It is unfortunate that in the evening of their lives, so beautiful, in the evening of their lives, that means towards the end of their life. In the evening of their lives, they are not looked after by their children. The concept of old homes is for such old people. I made it a point to visit the old home at Bivadi. The home is situated at a peaceful place. The building is simple but spacious and clean. It seems to be an ideal place for the senior citizens. Now, this is what you are telling the diary. That you visited, you saw this is what happened. You see how the lines are being framed. A doctor visits the home daily to check up the senior citizens. There is a permanent nurse employed to look after and give them medicines on time. The home has a good library and several means of recreation. Recreation is, maybe cards, maybe carom, maybe different things, maybe indoor stuff like indoor games, any type of thing that keeps them busy. Maybe they have one, sort of a temple type where they go and read their holy books, whatever, as per their age. All the inmates showered their parental love by insisting on having lunch with us. What a satisfying and rewarding visit it was to meet our grandpas and grannies. So all our grandpas, because they are all your grandpa's age, all senior citizens, so grandpas and grannies. And you can write your name, sign or don't. Again, that's optional. Yeah, you don't need to. So you see how it has been framed. All the points have been put together. So when you are reading this, it is like you are actually visiting that place. When you visualize this, so it's like you have actually visited that place. So you see how to cover it up. That is with the clues given. Now why I gave those was, why it has been given to you is so that you know exactly on what grounds to think. That's a practice. Yeah. Now if you see the next one, it is just a question. Now here no hints are given, no clues are given. So while I'm reading this, you think what you could write on it, right? Though I have solved it for you, but then later there are other practice questions which you will be doing yourselves. Indian weddings are matchless in grandeur, glamour and luxury. They are matchless in wastage, extravagance and vulgar display of money and wealth. Record your experience of such marriages in your diary. When it comes to creative writing, when you want to read the question, you have to read it twice or thrice. Please make it a habit. I'll tell you why. See, being a teacher, we've come across, those answer sheets where children, they read the question once, they think, oh, they've understood. When they start writing, they literally, what they do, they start describing a marriage. What is this? It is a general thing that people do display of this. It's a waste of money. It's a general thing. But what they will describe to you, the marriage of their brother, this happened in the marriage, that happened, this food was there, this people had worn this. You're gone off track. You are talking about a wedding, but you are not talking about what has been asked. So please, when you are reading a question, read it thrice at least. Again, Indian weddings are matchless. You cannot match them. The Indian weddings. Again, it's Indian weddings. In grandeur, glamour and luxury, what lavish marriages they have. Royal marriages. They are matchless in wastage, extravagance and vulgar display of money and wealth. People spend the money in just for a showbiz, just to show off, right? to the society that look, this is the marriage I have done for my son. These are the arrangements I have done. It's a show off. Record your experience of such marriages in your diary. So let's see. Here again you have the day, date and the time. Dear diary, they say that Indian weddings are matchless in glory, grandeur and glamour. In comparison, weddings in Europe and America pale into insignificance. They don't go the way Indian marriages do. The other side of the story is that Indian marriages are matchless in wastage, extravagance and vulgar display of money and wealth. Recently, I happened to attend one big marriage. About 5,000 guests were invited to the barat or the wedding party. A township of stalls serving hundreds of dishes, drinks and sweets had come up on the sprawling lawns of the five-star hotel. Now here he is describing how much showbiz, how much of wastage. The ceremony lasted till midnight. Even by a conservative estimate, it was a show worth in crores. So even if I look at the lavish things, I can just tell you that the cost has definitely gone up in crores. Surely this amount would have been sufficient to feed all the beggars and orphans of the city for months. Now this money that was spent just for those few hours, right? That same amount of money could have fed all the orphans and beggars maybe for months of the city. It speaks volumes of disparity that has become the main feature of the Indian society. Such a great difference. A small minority grabs all the riches and wealth of the nation. A few people who are really rich types, they grab totally all the riches and wealth of the nation. The extravagance and vulgar display in Indian marriages are at the cost of starving millions. Now this is your experience. This is what you feel about marriages which are, where they spend crores of rupees just for those few hours and all that they get is name. With the passage of time, who remembers it? It is only there lying in your, in your hard disk, in the drive, as memories to cherish. But apart from that, what? So the money that you spent over there for, just those few hours of the marriage, the reception or whatever party you are giving, that if can feed really all the beggars and orphans of the city for months, you can imagine the difference. So yeah, that is basically, let's not get into that topic. But yeah, this is your experience. This is your diary entry of that particular question. So you see, we are not in particular, this example was given to tell you how much extravagance has been done there, So how extravagantly have they spent? That is what they showed you here. But on the whole, you are describing it, right? So we stuck to the question. We were on track. Yeah. Moving further. So as always, we know practice makes man perfect. And because we want you to be perfect, we want you to solve these questions. And please, again, I'm telling you, whenever you are attempting a creative writing question, please read it minimum twice and please go to the third if possible, because that will save you a lot of time. Instead of writing wrong and then rubbing and then, redoing things doesn't make sense. So it's better you read the question at least twice and then move on. So yeah, you are Smita. You and your sister have decided to give your mother a day off from the kitchen on her birthday. That's a cute gesture. Write a diary entry in 100 to 150 words on how you managed to run the kitchen without your mother's assistance. So yeah, you can really go about and do it yourself. It's so much fun to write this. Yeah, you can imagine what all mess you created, and then eventually next day, the poor mother, it was a punishment for her to get things straight. So yeah, it can be loads of fun. Now here the second question given to you is with examples. So good for you. We tried one without, one with. So see, this will really help you to think on those grounds. You are Abhimanyu of ABC Public School, Gwalior. Your debut in a cricket match was a great event of your life. Now here you are describing an event. Taking help from the information given below, make a diary entry on my debut in a cricket match. Now here the topic is given. So great. Now it's cold, January, March morning, but I was excited. I had got a place in my college cricket team, inter-school competition, final match was to bat at 1 down. Sunny Public School, our rival, won the toss. We chose to field first. Sunny made a formidable 320 runs. Our openers were not cheaply, heart-beating. First over was furious, determined to stay, got the rhythm, stroking the ball well, completed half century, losing my companions, only 5 runs short of my century, and a great win, achieved it in style. Now this is when you are describing an event, when you're writing about the event. So obviously you will go in sequence what happened. So here the match happened, the toss happened, and so on and so forth. So you have the whole flow in front of you and you can frame your diary entry accordingly. So you see now how it is, whether with cues given or not given, these cues have been given to you so that you understand how to go about. Yeah, so I'm sure by now you have understood the concept, and I'm sure you will write it down with rich vocabulary. See students, there is one thing I would like to tell you. Always make sure that your creative writing has good phrases, has good idioms, has rich vocabulary. Please do it, because you know what, that enhances the quality of your writing. Yes, it definitely fetches you good marks, undoubtedly. So you see, like how we had done it in our examples, likewise I want you to attempt this in the same manner. So yes, diary writing is a voyage to the interior. Now this is a journey to the interior, as in because you have lots inside and you want to write it. So it's a beautiful journey there. So yes, lots of them to go, lots of practice, get your things well framed and fetch the best marks. For the same, keep watching and keep learning.